Hello, it's Art with Pupcakes. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm drawing the 50 states as people part 3. Today we are starting with our favorite conjoined twin states, favorite southern twin states, known for their southern charm and adventurous landscapes, and small towns to feel like you've been transported back in time. Now, there is an intriguing history behind the separation of North and South Carolina, but we'll get into that later. First, let's talk the Palmetto State. Its name comes from the impactfulness the palm tree had on the Revolutionary War during the Battle of Sullivan's Island. And the palm trees basically worked as these big shields that bounced off the bombs from the British. Now, if you've ever been to South Carolina, you may have heard of the mysterious island off the coast, hidden away in St. Helena Sound, with over 3,000 free-ranging monkeys, formerly known as Morgan's Island, informally known as the Island of the Monkeys. Another local phenomenon in South Carolina is the Carolina Bays. There are over 2,000 of these craters in South Carolina that look like shotgun blasts along the land. To date, no one knows what caused them. Some say it was a meteor shower, others say just your classic wind erosion, but no one knows the true answer. Now, just like its northern counterpart, the Palmetto State loves their tea, and was even the first of the US states to grow tea themselves. Though sweet tea is also popular, classic iced unsweetened tea is a #1 favorite amongst Southern Carolinians. So design-wise, I decided to give her a polka dot dress to represent the Carolina Bays and incorporated some triangle shapes on her teacup since the state is shaped like a triangle. Let's talk the Tar Heel State now. Its name used to be an insult to the #1 tar and pitch producing state, but the Tar Heels adapted the name as a compliment of sorts. The state flower is the flowering dogwood claimed by the State General Assembly way back when, because of its abundance in the state. I also like to think that its resilience matches the people, as it's got the hardest domestic wood in the US. North Carolina is like the complete opposite of the Palmetto State. They're not the fancy smanchy tea party type, though they are also tea lovers. The Tar Heels are more of the barbecue with a side of Pepsi type. And yes, their love for tea is pretty much the only thing the twins share in common, though even in that they argue. South Carolinians love their classic iced tea, but in North Carolina you'll find a lemon slice on every cup of tea. It's a common argument between the two states. The Palmetto State thinks it's an abomination, but the Tar Heels can't drink tea without it. North Carolina is also known for its college basketball. North Carolina University has a history of unbeaten victory streaks, and the state as a whole has an obsession with the sport. So I mentioned earlier how interesting the separation of these two states was. Well, first let's get this one thing clear. North and South Carolina were never one US state, but they were one colony, gifted to 8 proprietors by King Charles II. Back then, they were just Carolina. The Carolina colony was this rich versus poor toxic environment, with the North being incredibly poor and the South rich and powerful. As you can imagine, the power dynamic was not so good for ruling. It was like anarchy in the North, so the proprietors tried making a constitution, which didn't work. That's when the neighboring Native Americans revolted and ambushed the North, killing most of the colonists. So the proprietors demanded the survivors flee to the South, but most refused. Finally, the proprietors gave up on the North and gave it back to King Charles II, separating the two Carolinas. Here are my Carolina separated conjoined twins with their beautiful prosthetics I worked really hard on. I imagine they were separated as babies, the same way the state was separated as a colony. I'm really happy with how the monkey turned out and the lemon and Pepsi can. Next up is Oklahoma, the Sooner State, as eager settlers in Oklahoma rushed unassigned land before the U.S. opened them for settlement to find the best prime real estate. The state flower is the Indian blanket, as a symbol of their Native American population and reservations, and I'm happily surprised by this and how even the flag depicts tribal culture. Native Americans have had a long history in the Sooner State. Over half of the land in Oklahoma is claimed as Native American reservations. Oklahoma has one of the best women's softball leagues, having a recent boom in championships. Even before the championships, softball has been a long time beloved sport in the state. The Sooner State is also where the classic Twister movie was shot, as the state averages at about 66 tornadoes annually, making it the third tornado state in the U.S. So I decided to make my Oklahoma character a passionate softball player with this long, thick hair. And yeah, I know having all that hair down during a professional softball game isn't ideal, but I really wanted to show off the length. I also made her number 46 because it's the 46th state in the US. Some stuff that I could include in her design is Will Rogers and Toby Keith, two Oklahoma beloved performers in the state. Will Rogers being this country actor known as Oklahoma's favorite son, and Toby Keith, a country singer. Another random fact that I couldn't fit into her design, but I thought was interesting, is that Oklahoma has a lot of casinos, even with half the state being in Native American territory. Here's Oklahoma, ready to win another softball championship. I really went ham on the rendering because I felt like the design was a bit empty, but I still really like how it turned out. Last but not least, Arizona, or the Copper State, as it produces roughly 70% of the U.S. supply of copper. It's also known as the Grand Canyon State for obvious reasons. I've always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon after reading books that take place in Arizona. And living in Texas, I have somewhat of a better chance of surviving the Arizona heat. And with its crazy heat, it's very fitting that the people there love their hot sauce. With all their local ingredients, jalapenos, cactus, and hatch-grown chives, it's a good hot spot for hot sauce. Iggy's is also a cultural hotspot in Arizona. Nothing like a nice and cold icy large on a hot day, so in Arizona every day. It was even voted Tucson's #1 fast food restaurant. Being so close to the border, Arizona has a large mariachi scene and other Mexican culture. Arizona, like Texas, was also a part of Mexico at some point. So I decided to give my Arizona design short hair, shorts, and a tank top, thanks to a commenter's suggestion. I also gave her this copper bracelet, though you can't really tell it's copper. You also can't really tell that she's hiking, but I gave her a backpack to kind of hint at that, but I'm not sure if it fully gets that message across. The mariachi hat is, of course, to represent the large mariachi scene, and on her shirt I wrote, "I put hot sauce on my hot sauce," because I couldn't find a way to actually include a bottle of hot sauce in her design. Here's Arizona in the blazing heat, drinking her icy to stay cool, while trying to reach her goal of exploring the entire Grand Canyon. So here's Arizona, Oklahoma, and South and North Carolina. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I know I say this every time, but gosh, I'm really happy how it turned out, and especially after all the procrastinating to do these 4 states. But have a delicious Sunday. Bye, Lo!